I can hear it now.
Yeah, I can hear it.
All right, cool. I'm going to what's called the studio chat.
Okay. So you know what? I'm gonna run me back. I got a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah. And Chris, if you look to the right of your screen.
Yeah, I see the studio chat. I'm in there.
By the way, this beat is hard. I like this. Start rapping.
Kick it off. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're all on here. Good morning to everybody who's joining us. I see that there are four folks so far, so I want to let our guests come on. This is another episode of Uptown Voices, Black and Blanco edition.
Yes, sir.
Whereas always, I'm joined by my good friend, brother from another mother, Led Black. What's up?
What's the deal, man? What's up, Octavio, man? I got the Dominican team jersey. We're playing the USA tonight. You know what I mean? So it's a big game, 8 p.m. World Baseball Classic. You know, got to rep DR always.
Classic.
So super excited about that.
Beautiful thing.
And then also, I want to remind everyone, make sure you subscribe, show our channel love, subscribe. We need that love always and forever.
Yes, sir. Please subscribe. It's so important to have our audience members subscribe on YouTube. You can go to the Uptown Collective YouTube page and subscribe there. That's going to give you all of our Uptown Collective YouTube media, and also we'll give you alerts to when we have these shows coming up, which are every Sunday at 10 a.m. and then usually publishing on Tuesday mornings, recorded shows. This is a live show, and I see that we are up on Instagram. That's great. Hopefully everybody on Instagram show love to our show. and we're at a very important. This is a very important show today, and we are in the midst of this like incredible new world order that we're living through right now. It's the third week of war. Oil prices have been skyrocketing. The Strait of Hormuz has been blocked. There's all kinds of rumors swirling that the president of Israel is unalive, that Iran's new leader, Khomeini Jr., is dead. Both countries are denying those rumors. But what's true is that Iran has choked off the Strait of Hormuz, which is about 20% of all the oil that is produced in the world. We're already seeing things like long lines for gas in China and Vietnam and throughout Asia. That's not good. We're seeing this whole war play out in a way that's going to be and is currently hitting us here in our pocketbooks here in Washington Heights.
Octavio, I also want to say this is, in my opinion, I agree with everything you're saying, but I still think it's an understatement. This is like the biggest blunder in American history. Trump has let us down. Iranian escalation trap. We are stuck, and this is not getting better. And I don't think, like yesterday, you can send me the text of who our next guest is. Please tell the world who our next guest is, because we need to get right on it. We need to be talking to him. So let's
all right.
Who do we have on today?
All right, got you. And I didn't mean to minimize it. I do think this is one of the biggest issues that we're dealing with. But today we have one of my good friends, somebody who I've gone back many, many years, a friend of the podcast. His name is Chris Lewis. He is an independent oil trader. He's based out in California, so it's an early morning for him. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show. It's pretty exciting to be here. Yeah, and I concur with what you're saying, Octavio and Led. It's a complete disaster. It's maybe the biggest military blunder ever. It's certainly not ever. I mean, there were times in the Middle Ages that were probably worse.
But in American history, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. Like it's very, very bad. And the reason why I know that is because of how it's affecting what I do, trading crude oil and natural gas futures. And
tell us a little bit. You get into all of that. Like, I want the audience to know who you are, and and why it's important for us to be speaking to you, because you're an independent oil natural gas trader. You make a living off of doing this. This is your business. You're not doing this for a big bank. You're not doing this for something like that. You're doing this for yourself, and also you go back many years doing this kind of work, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in the energy futures complex since 2002, one way or another. I've had stints on both sides of, well, with different facets of the industry. I was on the trading side for a while, then I ended up in the marketing and sales side when I went into the corporate side of the industry, and now I've been back trading futures for a while. And I got into it. My history is I actually have an art degree, but my family was in the business, and when I got married, I needed to make a living. Like I didn't want to be a starving artist anymore. So I went and I learned about this business, and oddly enough, I really loved it. That's probably what I should have been doing from the beginning. But now, just to bring it back full circle, I make a living through because of price volatility. Like that's what makes money for me. So, but because of that, I have to be as much of an expert as I can be in understanding what moves prices, whether it's analyzing a chart or analyzing the fundamentals being, what's an inventory, which countries are doing what, which companies are doing what, that also move move prices.
So I want to give Led out. Led, I think we can alternate questions like we normally do. So I think I'll go first on this one, and then you can come up
Perfect
with the next. So we were discussing it a little bit, but yes, Chris, like this is probably the biggest military blunder. But tell us, like, why?
Yeah.
Why is it that?
Well,
Why is it that?
there's no plan, there's no exit strategy. I mean, aside from the fact that it's completely convoluted as to why we're doing this to begin with as a nation. I mean, the reasoning for starting this is, I mean, frankly, it looks like Israel is pulling the strings of the American military for their own, for their own advantage, their own gain. Poking Big Brother and antagonizing us into striking Iran. But the real blunder is that nobody thought that Iran, no one realized in this administration, although everybody else on the planet, including Wall Street and knows that Iran is a formidable military force. It's not Venezuela. It's not even Iraq from the first and second Gulf Wars, which was a bit of a paper tiger. Iran is they're entrenched. I mean, their administration, they've been around since 1979. They have been preparing for war, frankly, because of their extremist ideology at the top of their administration. But they've been preparing for war for 50 years, 48 years. Like, this is what they do, and they understand that their leverage is control of the Strait of Hormuz. They understand that they also, here's another interesting thing about Iran militarily, they innovate. They're not just, but they innovate. They have a similar thinking to Israel and to Ukraine, with how Ukraine is innovating drone. Iran has done the same thing in their region. They've taken technology from around the world. They build $10,000 drones that our air to surface missiles are millions a piece. I mean, it's just, they're able to do this. They're able to keep the strait closed, and that's the blunder. The blunder is not, like, how do you not know that is at the very least a huge risk? And this is 20%, and it's not just the oil. I mean, certainly it's 20% of oil and distillates being gasoline, diesel, et cetera, and other petroleum products that travel through this area. I mean, this disruption is bigger by volume than the embargoes, if anybody remembers, from the 70s, when OPEC really flexed its muscles and told the world, like, you can't fuck with us, right? That's what enabled the Saudi royal family to maintain power. There was no military action in the Middle East from us. I mean, that's what did that. This disruption is every bit as bad as that, with no end in sight. We don't know what's going to happen. We got NATO countries independently negotiating with Iran to get being France and Italy to get through the strait. We got Russia sanctions lifted because Trump, I mean, for all we know, he's a fucking asset to that country. They're now it's the biggest boom for the Russian oil infrastructure in history, right? They're forcing Western Europe, the second wealthiest region on the planet, soon to be first, maybe, because this idiot is bringing us down economically to a place where we'll be third now. Anyway, it's a disaster of epic proportions. The incompetence of this administration is, I mean, it's just unfathomable. It's hard to wrap your brain around it. It's like, it's frat boy energy running the line, running the wealthiest and most lethal military force on the planet, because they're in a dick contest with China. It's just the most insane thing. And because there's a few people that are transgender, it's the most obscene thing. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think America's in this Kanye era. America's destroying its legacy like right before your eyes. You right? And you know, there's a professor, Robert Pape, who's been like war gaming this for like the last few decades. He's you know, he not only studies like every air power war, you know, since World War One, but he also you know, he's been teaching at the Naval Academy. He creates curriculum, you know, and he was talking about the escalation trap, like how America's trapped, right? You know, everything they do is they're gonna be an equal response from Iran. Like you were saying, Iran is the Persian nation, right? They go back, you know, millennia, right? This was the most foolhardy thing that one could think of, led again by Israel. Like I don't know why. At what point do we realize that Israel's not an ally? It's a liability. You know what I mean? And we hear the rumors of Netanyahu dead. Please God, let that be true. But my question to you, right? So, you know, my day job is in Jersey. You know, I'm back and forth to Jersey. And last week when I filled up, it was $2.99, right? On Friday, it was already up to $3.47. You know, where's this headed? Where's this going? Like, my understanding is that the prices here in the States, at least, is more because of the futures, like what you work in, right? But we are going to actually hit a wall at some point. Where are we at in that? And what do you see as a person with this deep knowledge of this industry?
I mean, basically, it's a sort of a 30-day time cycle, right? So from the pricing that I see to get to the pump takes about 30 days. So I'm seeing, I'm seeing, you know, on a daily basis, you know, between 3 and 10% up moves in energy products in the futures market, whether it's Brent crude oil, which is the crude oil that's drilled for in the North Sea in Europe. Uh, then there's crude oil. What the futures, the WTI contract is based on domestic crude oil here in the United States. And but the big story is diesel. Diesel is getting very expensive. Diesel's up 50% in the last week, 2 weeks. The futures prices of diesel are over $4 now. You add $1 onto that. That's the cheapest it'll be right now. I mean, diesel could be over the summer, could be $9 a gallon, which is, you know, ends up being a choke point for domestic shipping. I mean, everything is in a truck here in this country. So it's going to be painful before then, frankly, because, you know, gas stations literally have to raise their prices knowing they know what's coming. You know, they get quotes from from their distributors, just like anybody else, and they're getting warned. I mean, it's just like when the tariffs came, people were getting warned about prices that were going to change for wholesalers. It's the same thing for these guys. So they got to raise prices now so that they can afford to buy oil and gas, you know, diesel and gas next month. So they're raising prices now just to make enough money to be able to do that. And you can't, you know, I mean, there are certainly gas stations out there that are going to just be gouging, but most of them are out there saying, if I don't raise my gas prices now, if I don't make money on the relatively inexpensive inventory I have now, I'm not going to be able to buy, because they can't afford to buy a year's worth of gas. They can't sign a contract with Exxon or Shell or whoever the producers are for, you know, they're not like futures. They don't have leverage. They got to go write a check for a month, you know, and then they're obligated to that. And if all of a sudden there's like a sharp decline in demand, which will happen if things skyrocket, they can't buy that much gas. Like, can't predict what their demand is going to be. So they have to charge these prices. And that's, you know, that's part of the trap that you were talking about. Like, there's no way to stop prices from increasing anywhere. And the consumer is the wholesaler and the consumer is forced to pay more. There is no like magical thing that's going to make the prices stop. And
just for the record, you know, our local gas station here on Broadway, Led, you drive. I don't drive, but I was riding by on the bus yesterday, and the price for a gallon of regular is about $4. and in California, I think it's like $6. So
Yeah,
we're already feeling the surge in gas prices in our pocket.
Yeah, that's what that's what I was getting at. Like that's happening now. The disruption, uh, the disruption is everywhere. You see the stock market getting hit pretty hard. I think that's just the beginning. Um, like I said, there's no exit. There's no planned exit for this. We don't have any idea how this is going to develop with our allies. You got Russia supporting Iran now. Helping them with drones, etc. I mean, it's just crazy.
Chris, can I ask you a question about that real quick? Like, so I have my 401k, right? What would you recommend to someone with a 401k, like right now? What should they be doing?
Oh God, I mean, I'm reluctant to even get into that for multiple reasons. One, I'm not a financial advisor, so I would have to say, no matter what I say, everybody that's listening to this that has any interest in this and taking advantage of a situation like this and or protecting their 401k, please go talk to a professional, your financial advisor. Do your own research also, because they're even a run-of-the-mill financial advisor isn't, this is unprecedented. The events that are happening right now, people aren't going to be able to predict very well, other than it's going to be putting pressure on stock market prices and on the downside and upside on commodities and other daily items are going to go up just in general. Everything from steel to eggs and stuff, which are going to continue to go up. So, having said that, the likelihood is it's more likely that oil is going to go higher over the next few weeks and months than it's going to go down. The best way to take advantage of that is with an ETF. If people are familiar with an exchange traded fund, which is what an ETF is, it's the lowest barrier of entry. It's the least expensive thing to do, and also has the least price volatility, because you can lose everything.
ETF.
Yeah. From a stock perspective, with a 401k, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, unless you're a reasonably sophisticated, even amateur trader, you can't do anything. Your Vanguard like if you're, if you're a worker at a large corporation and you have a 401k, it's not like you're going to get on the phone with your Vanguard or Fidelity 401k manager and be like, "Hey, I need you to buy some puts in the S&P to hedge my 401k position." They're gonna or your audience doesn't even understand what I just said.
Hedge,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's like
That's
Chinese.
what I mean. Like this is again part of how horrible this is. Like just from a basic sort of transfer of wealth, the way this country has developed since Reagan, right? With this neoliberal sort of trickle down economics thing, which every president, whether you're Democrat, Republican, has been guilty of since Reagan, because of how much the wealth class loved that guy. And what I mean by that is that there's no pensions anymore. Those don't exist, right? There's no real security. Anybody that is in corporate America is forced to be in a 401k. There is no alternative. Like, you can't finance your own pension. It's very difficult to do that. If you're not involved in a 401k, if you're not in the market, there is no other retirement plan for you. Now, you can have less risky 401ks, more risky like that, but we're all forced to be in it. So it's really like, hold on to your nuts and wait for it to end.
Because there's another aspect of this that we haven't quite touched on yet. Is, I mean, first of all, there's different risks in just in any situation, right? Like, we talked about ETFs, and those are exchange traded funds. Those are baskets those are a group that's our banks or traders that track a certain thing. So you could have an ETF that tracks oil, that's called Brent crude. That's the benchmark oil in the world. But you could also have an ETF that tracks like nuclear companies and stocks. And those are generally a basket of companies, and those are generally thought to be safe, right? But still with risk. And then you've got futures, and then you've got options. options, I think, are the most things. So if you're even considering getting into an option, right, you have to think about what that is, because you could end up losing more than you invest when you do an option. Um, and then there's futures. Futures are also extremely risky. But the biggest risk of all is President Trump and his administration, right? He
Yeah,
could,
I mean, if I could just jump in here, yeah, 100%
yeah,
right. Because the headline risk, right, meaning like news headlines, is insane. Like we saw, we watched the energy secretary put out a tweet saying that the Navy started to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. It was a complete fabrication. It was on purpose. It was a PR stunt, basically. It was their attempt to drop the price of oil long enough. I mean, it literally lasted a couple days, um, uh, and that headline risk is devastating, right? And you have to watch out for that. I mean, they're willing to say anything. I mean, Trump is out there saying the war is won, it's over, we've devastated everything. Then you literally have, other news outlets, and Reuters, AP, CNN, like major news outlets saying, like literally pointing out that the world is laughing at him because everybody knows that the Iranian military, although not undamaged, but they're operational. The death of the Ayatollah and all of those leaders literally did zero to disrupt the leadership structure in Iran. They're running just fine. Why? Because they got a deep bench. Because they're not Venezuela. They're not. They have enough oil capital to defend themselves. I mean,
so that's just to that just goes to say that when you are like, I had been considering, oh, maybe this is a good opportunity to buy some kind of oil stocks or an ETF, or get into maybe options or futures. But the truth of the matter is that even though, like, because of what's happening in the world, oil prices are expected to keep rising. They're like over $100 a barrel, I think, right now.
well,
The
Brent's around 100, and WTI is in the mid 90s.
But the reality is that no matter what the real world is saying, this administration will say anything to manipulate the markets. And so
anything.
it's
I mean, that's
very, very dangerous to get into. So like you were saying, hold on to your nuts, because, we just need to ride this out, because everything that seems to be coming out of the administration is a lie.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, it's just so evident in just even their own admissions, right? You have Catherine Levitt saying, and Wall Street. Here's the thing: like Wall Street is smart. They may be predatory piranha. I'll include. I'm Wall Street, right? Not everybody is that way on Wall Street either, but Wall Street is smart. Why? Because no one fucks around with their money. Right? People don't do things whimsically, right? This is why Donald Trump is an 8-time bankrupt loser, right? Because that's how he does business, and it fails every time. So on Wall Street, when you have Catherine Levitt, the press secretary, coming out and saying Trump had a feeling that Iran was going to attack the United States as an excuse for why we have now spent $14 billion with no end in sight. Forget about the human lives lost. I mean, you can't look. I'm sorry. I know people in this country don't think Iranian lives or Persian lives are worth anything, but we have no idea how many thousands of people we've killed already.
Well, apparently, according to the Iranians at the UN, 1,348 Iranian civilians have been killed. That doesn't include military. And according to Lebanese authorities, 826 people have died in Lebanon. So that's over 2,000 civilians. So yeah.
Right.
Hey, Chris, I want to ask you a question, because one of the things I find so hard about this war is that it's very hard to get information on what's really happening on the ground, right? We see, we see the Tehran being, we see the black oil because attacking of oil infrastructure, but we don't see the damage in Israel. We don't see a lot of the damage in the GCC. How do you do your job in such a when there's such a dearth of information?
I mean, yeah, you're relegated to blogs and other traders in the industry. I mean, I talk to people, not that I have inside info, or I don't, but I have friends in the industry, and also I try to not go, like, I read the AP, I read Reuters. The Wall Street Journal is actually as intellectually honest as they can be when it comes to this, believe it or not, even though they're a Rupert Murdoch owned entity. I don't trust domestic media here anymore. Even MS Now. That's not to say that they're, and I applaud them for being politically motivated. Like, we need to have, like, this voice that is tilted away from this government. But it's all, everyone has their slant. So in order
I agree.
So in order to get, like, actual data, I mean, now, I am now, I use a couple of large language models to scrape information and scour different data sources, news sites, government sites from not here, like the International Energy Association. I'm looking at constantly. There's a couple of blogs and stuff and that I look at also, but it's not easy. Like, for a guy like me who has limited information, I'm not, it's not like I'm at Vitol moving oil around the world in ships. Vitol is a big energy trading firm, physical trading. They trade physical products. I am at the mercy of pricing. Most of my information comes from prices. So when I'm looking at crude prices and I'm watching it, go up, that's the inside. Like, as a crude spike in prices will then a couple of hours later, I'll see that the island, I can't pronounce the name of the island that was bombed.
Karg, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
right.
know how to pronounce it exactly, but it's, Kharg, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I'll start looking in the news for what's moving the price in terms of because it's not your typical fundamentals. Like, it has nothing to do with what's in inventory anymore. Public demand doesn't make a difference anymore. This is about, this is much bigger than that. Like, you have to have, a 30,000-foot view, but that ends up making it difficult to try to figure out shorter term price fluctuations. Even day to day, like we were saying.
So from your perch, right, and your, like, deep knowledge of the subject, and I know you don't predict the future, but you kind of have to try. Where are we headed with this? Where are we going 2 weeks, a month from now, by the summer?
I think that, to be honest, I think that there's no way but up. There's, the headline risk of large dips in prices is real, which is why I tell people, don't even look at the futures market if you're trying to take advantage of this. Like, understand, it's still a crap game. Like, you still, take a certain dollar amount that you're willing to lose and try to take advantage that way with an ETF, for example. But there's really no way but up from here. There's just no way. Every day the strait is closed. Every day people's oil production in the Middle East is diminished or off, in fact, because there's no place to move the oil to. Right, the storage facilities are closed. They're full, which isn't a good thing. That's because oil isn't moving out of them, and they can't continue to fill them. Wow. So that disruption, even if the strait opens tomorrow, we're going to see a short-term, refineries can't get oil. So we're going to see short-term elevation in prices, and every day that it continues, and again, there's no exit strategy. Regime change will take boots on the ground, which I don't know who will take. If that happens, we're at $200 oil for a sustained period of time.
And my last question, Octavio. So what does that do to an economy like ours or poor countries? What is that going to do to us?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's again, it's so much pressure on the economy, and really what it does is, right, so from it, just in the most simple way, right, rising fuel prices are one of the largest costs to an everyday consumer around the world, whether you're in poor countries, you're poor already, so it's devastating, right? It's lack of food, it's chaos, it's warlords, it's craziness. It's apocalyptic, right? That no joke, right? You have no fiat currency to go get anything, so people will just hoard and take things by force. That's poor countries. In this country, it's all based, the entire economy is on the shoulders of the from poor people to the middle class in this country, because we're the largest consumer block. We buy all the bullshit. We buy all the crappy stuff at Walmart, and the small things. That's what. So when those prices go up due to shipping costs, more tariff pressure, which that's the only economic policy this fucking idiot knows how to use, which is a joke. He's using them badly and wrongly to begin with. And then in addition to that, rising fuel costs makes everything go up, everything, because it's supply chain, it's trucks, it's rail, it's air freight. Jet fuel there was reports of $250 a gallon jet fuel in Taiwan, like just insane. I mean, think of what that means. That's like, you can't use that if you're trying to get goods by air from one place to another. It's impossible, right? So jet fuel is going to go through the roof. Diesel for shipping through the roof, bunker fuel, which is what fuels these ships. All of these things, it's so inflationary, it's insane. That ends up putting a ton of pressure in America on the consumer. So consumer spending can go to zero, right? When that happens, that cascades to big box stores, retailers. They're not selling anything, right? So they got to lay people off. So when you're laying people off to protect your share price, which you have to do fiduciarily, like if you're a CEO, by law, you have to do that. You have to protect your shareholders, right? It's a bit fucked up, but that is, like, you have to do that. That is your job. So you start laying people off to do that, but then that puts more pressure on the economy in general, because nobody's spending anything. Who can spend anything? And when there's no spending and people aren't supporting the economy that way, I mean, that's what got us into the Great Depression. That's what got us into the Great Recession in 2008. And this disruption in oil, I can't overstate how much pressure it's going to put on the consumer, the global consumer. It's not just us. It's bad. I mean, on the bell curve of likelihood, the fact that we're even having this conversation and that is in the realm of possibility is insane. But it is. And every day that these conflicts increase and they start to escalate, and our allies walk away from us and they independently negotiate, like, the world could isolate the United States, because in the end, they don't really need us. Markets fill holes, right? Like, if our consumers go to hell and prices get cheaper, Africa could benefit from that, right? Like, all of a sudden, they're not part of it. They're not going to be penalized for this. Like, the world can isolate us, and maybe rightly should. But I'm sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of them. It's terrible for the American consumer. It's horrible for us, and it's gonna hit us. It will start to hit us hard, and the economy is not in great shape. We have horrible job numbers. You can't trust the numbers coming out of the White House. Steve Bessent is the the biggest, the Treasury Secretary. He is the biggest hypocrite. He might be one of the worst guys in the administration. He's first of all, he's a traitor to the LGBTQ community. He's gay.
Yeah.
He's gay. He's a fucking Uncle Tom, if there's such a thing for gay people. I mean, he's just a disgusting human being. He lies like crazy. He's completely out of touch, right? So you got this guy in there trying to tell people, don't worry. But the job market is and anecdotally, go walk around your neighborhoods. You're going to see a bunch of retail stores up for lease. People aren't renewing leases. Obviously inflation in the grocery store is not going anywhere. Fuel prices are going to continue to go up. Just basic goods, clothing. I mean, everything is reliant on the international supply chain infrastructure, which is getting destroyed by what's going on in Iran. And that affects us all. And yes, it's going to hurt everyone. It's going to, and our economy here is not set up for it. We don't innovate anything here anymore. The oligarchs here, they're not U.S. citizens. They can operate from anywhere. They just need consumers. They don't care if they're here or someplace else. They're global institutions. It doesn't matter to them, right? So it's just crazy. And then, of course, there is an AI bubble. All of this circular investing is going to catch up to it. One day OpenAI is going to stop needing to build infrastructure, or they're going to run out of capital because no one understands what the revenue stream of that is yet. We don't know if consumers are going to tolerate advertising in ChatGPT when you're saying, hey, I need to understand XYZ. And they're like, hey, great, go get your next burger at McDonald's while I'm giving you this information that you asked for. Who knows if anybody's going to be able to tolerate that? I mean, in social media, like, it's already disgusting. Like, I go on Facebook and Instagram for like entertainment or whatever, and to argue with, Trump tards. But besides that, like, it doesn't really offer anything. Like, it's just a constant stream of, hey, we see that you watched this video on making knives a little bit longer than you watch something else. So now we're going to shove knife ads down your throat. I mean,
you're going to see every single knife ad ever.
Yeah.
And, look, we've had you on for 38 minutes. If you want to stick around, I want you to stick around. You good to stay with us for the full hour, or do you just want to just be respectful of your time?
No. If you guys aren't sick of me, I'm happy to stick around. But if you have other topics to get, it's up. If you have other topics to get to, or you want to talk about it, it's fine.
I mean, there are topics, but I think these are all topics that we can all chat together. Led, what do you think?
I think we can have a little more of your time, Chris, and then we'll let you go. But I think if it's okay, I would like to keep having this conversation with you.
Yeah. Let's talk. I mean, look, it's beneficial to me too. Like, if nothing else, like, I'm so angry at what's happening. I'm so resentful of our country. We have become the least educated and most stupid electorate of first world countries in the world. We are so dangerous to the globe now, and I'm so angry and resentful of our own populace for allowing this to happen, for being so stupid. To be able to, I mean, we grew up with this fucking piece of shit.
Yeah,
like, we grew up with Donald Trump. We know how much of a clown he is. Yeah. Like, I would listen to family members in 2000, a decade ago, in New Jersey, saying like, "Hey, this guy's saying some good stuff," and I'm like, "What are you saying? This guy is like, he doesn't have the emotional intelligence to like do anything." And now with like the Epstein file, like this whole thing, literally, it's completely possible that this whole thing is a design distraction to not have the Epstein files ruin this guy's presidency because he's a sexual predator. Like, it's insane. And all of the projection that this administration does, it's like anything that they accuse anyone else of fake news. The Democrats are this, all the sexual, their sexual, LGBTQ, like all of the blame that they put on brown people. It's all projection. They are the evil Christian nationalist caliphate. Like that's what they are. They are the white, like we voted, this country selected a white Christian nationalist organization to lead this country. It's insane. Like to be honest, like the middle America, Latin American community that lean towards this guy, I'm so angry at. Like, how could you
Chris,
do that?
That's a reoccurring thing with me and Octavio. I say it all the time as a Latino. I'm so deeply ashamed of my Latino brothers and sisters that voted for this crazy con man. And
people of color, my people, Jewish people. Are you kidding me? Like these religious right Jewish lunatics. These are my people. I'm ashamed. Like Netanyahu how does Israel that was created to protect Jews from another Holocaust is now being led literally by a fascist administration? The hypocrisy of that is so disgusting and so deeply hurts me and embarrasses me that I can't even stand it. And I'm sorry to bring that up about the Latin community. It's brown. It's there's in the Black community too. It's insane.
No. This is, like I said, this is one of my pet peeves at how, we did this to ourselves in certain ways. Like, why did you think you were different? Like, why did you not think, you were special? They liked you. No, they're using you. But I mean, again, I think we're in a really bad place, and it's good to commiserate, right? To see that other people are just as angry as we are, because I think we're losing a lot here. I think this is the end of the American experiment, right? I think that.
I mean, I don't know. It's true. Like, I don't know what happens now. Like even if we get out of this and Trump doesn't become a de facto. I mean, he kind of is a de facto dictator at the moment.
He is already.
But because there isn't like a real succession plan, and they haven't either suspended or manipulated elections to the point where they can't lose quite yet, as far as we know. We don't know what comes next, but it doesn't matter. Like, you have this technocratic infrastructure now, right, where so few people control so much wealth that it almost doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, whatever. Like, one of the geniuses of our forefathers, maybe the biggest genius element of the Constitution, is the separation of powers, because that was designed to combat against the unlimited greed and lust of human beings. Like, they understood that a human being will go to any length to hoard power, any length. Like, that's what they knew. There are huge plot holes, if you will, in the Constitution, right? Like the 2/3 rule for Black people, just, things that are, that were relevant then that are completely irrelevant now. But that was the genius of our forefathers, to understand that monarchical rule was the end game to anybody that wanted and seeked power. And that was the purpose for the separation of powers, with the equal branches of government, the ultimate genius of them. And to see that being prostituted now, and to see a completely impotent Congress not putting the reins on more executive power than anyone in our country has ever had, which by the way has been the nature of the presidency, certainly in modern times, certainly post World War II. It has been creeping that way for the last 75 years, without a doubt. Without getting into it, it's not hard to look up that sort of structural change. It's pretty well documented. It's to get down to what we were talking about, and to bring it back to that, you have these leaders that are now, leading by the seat of their pants, literally, like playing with the lives of 330 million Americans as if they're the chips at the blackjack table. We're all chips at the blackjack table, right? Like our pocketbooks, our lives,
Yeah. And I think there was also this hubris, right? This like self-professed like superiority, that they thought that there was only one person playing war here, and when the war starts, the other side gets a vote, and no one can go toe to toe with America and Israel at the same time, but they don't have to go to toe. And I think one of the things that we're not talking about in mainstream media is how really intelligent the Iranian defenses, right? Like they made this war. They made the world. They made the world feel this war, right? Because if the world didn't feel it, the world wouldn't try to end it. And I think I don't know where we're headed, but I do feel that the whole world is kind of waking up, and I do think this is the Chinese century. Your thoughts?
I do think so. I think that this war is going to culminate in a huge diminishment of our position globally, as if it wasn't already. I mean, our foundation as the shining light on the hill is gone. If there was anything as American exceptionalism, it's gone. It's been gone since 2016. The world is not stupid, as I was saying earlier. Markets fill holes. The world can isolate us. It doesn't need us. We don't have an unlimited bank book without runaway inflation. You can't print money forever. It doesn't work. Proven by the Biden administration, frankly. That was their big mistake, like not telling people that, the COVID stimulus wasn't going to cause inflation and to not pay attention. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. But this is the Chinese. Yeah, they are rubbing their hands in anticipation of they're going to take over Taiwan without firing a shot. Just economic isolation. Everyone's going to let them do it now. They are the manufacturing center of the world. They know it. They're innovating like crazy. I just downloaded an operating system that allows you to use their quantum computing for free. I'm starting to learn about that. Like, wow. It's like I'm going to start looking at trade models and being able to have my desktop be able to compute trade strategies faster than the speed of light. I mean, this is what's going on in China, right? Like, it's just, they have positioned themselves in a way that will make they will be the supreme power in the next 30 years. I mean, we've destroyed ourselves. We have destroyed ourselves, and we allowed a buffoon to take control of the strongest economy, the most lethal military in the world, and he is systematically destroying it.
And every day that goes on that the Strait of Hormuz is closed, every week that goes on that it's closed, every month, if it stays closed for a month, my understanding is that's it. We're looking at a complete paradigm shift for the global economy.
Oh yeah. No, that's 100%.
The rules are thrown out the window. So that's 1 month. Okay. Still, though, 1 day, 1 week, those are all adding up to this this rewriting of the global economy, rewriting of the who's in power. We're seeing Russia winning every day that we have the Strait of Hormuz shut down is a win for Putin and his regime. China China needs oil, so guess who their neighbor is? It's Russia, and they can get oil delivered to them by truck, by train, by plane, however they want it. And this administration, feeling the pressure, has removed the international sanctions on Russia's oil. So now Russia is free to sell their oil and make money.
I mean, Russia is selling their oil anyway. They were selling it at such a huge discount for revenue. Now they don't have to do that because now it's legal. So now they can actually get market pricing and sell more. Just to explain that a little bit more, it's such a boom for them. Like, and Putin, you know, he's quite literally a gangster, right? It's definitely the economic infrastructure in Russia with the oligarchs is a pyramid scheme, basically, right? They all kick back to Putin. So Putin's personal wealth, I mean, no one knows, you know, he's wealthier than Elon Musk by many estimations. Like he's hundreds and hundreds
in real wealth, in real wealth.
With one of the most highly trained militaries on the planet at his back.
Yeah,
and a nuclear arsenal. Yeah. I mean, it's so scary, and the reality is that the world order is already shifting in a big way. Our adversaries are winning, maybe have won, because you know the inevitable future is, right, like the longer this Trump may feel forced to put a large force on the ground. And now, because we're so diminished and the world sees it, I mean, he's literally begging our allies, including China, for military help. Yeah. For military help in the Strait, and no one's doing it.
Yeah.
No one is doing it.
And what's crazy is that this is, and it's a total disaster that you don't see on mainstream media, right? But you know, like, we've already spent like 15 billion just in the war effort. That's not talking about the run up to the war, and there's not talking about the possibly trillions and change money that was spent on those bases over 30 years. This is a disaster that we have never seen. Like, I don't think it's unprecedented.
And then you couple that with the with the standing militia that is DHS, Border Patrol and ICE that's here, right? That will easily turn into a martial law enforcement force. The fascism, the American fascism that's happening now, right? Coupled with this global strife. I mean, it's, in my opinion, Alligator Alley is one of many concentration camps. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you can put anybody in there. There's no due process anymore. Like, this is the degradation of American democracy that we have never, ever seen before.
Yeah,
it dwarfs what FDR did in World War II with internment camps for the Japanese. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
It's a farce. It's a farce, because you think about it, we spend all this money to get rid of Khomeini to replace him with Khomeini. Right. A much more hardline, a much more pro-nuclear weapon. Like,
imagine the radicalization that's happening in Iran now.
Right. Exactly. But with Mustafa, the new leader, you killed his mother, his father, his wife, and his son.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that blood cemented even people that were anti, the mullahs are now all in, because it's not an attack on the regime, it's an attack on the Iranian people.
I mean,
so you've wakened that great civilization up, and we've lost this. This is lost. It was lost. It's lost when you killed them.
There was a real movement. There was a real movement. And the Iranian government. They killed tens of thousands of protesters. I mean, it's the most disgusting thing ever. But there was a real movement for change there. I mean, they want to model themselves off of Western Europe. Like, that was the political goal. That is the political goal of the Iranian people, for the most part. They want free market. They want freedom of speech, free press. Like, this is what they want. They want the ability to succeed at an individual level. They want sovereignty for themselves. They want to get out from under this global, the pressure of this global these global sanctions that are on them for supporting terror groups, which is also real. But they were doing it, and now, as you pointed out so intelligently, they're completely radical. What's the point now? Now it's like it's more existential. We have to fight. We're not going anywhere. Like, they're gonna give weapons to everybody in that country. It'll be like trying to invade Japan at the end of World War II. And now think about that. You start connecting the dots with that. Like now you start having conversations of, well, can we drop a nuclear weapon in Iran? Like, can we do that? Can we force regime change by a couple of nukes? Like, is that possible? Like, I mean, this is the fucking insanity that we're dealing with here. These conversations that we're having now that were considered like you just couldn't talk about it. Not even
it was impossible. It was not even,
How do you talk, like a government-sponsored militia in the street to control for population control? That was, I mean, that where did that happen? That doesn't happen here. How could that happen here? And here we are. It's in our face. I mean, just look at what's going on in Vermont. What's happening in Minnesota didn't go away. Just they haven't killed anybody recently, so it's not in the news. I mean, it's the travesty of what's happening here is incredible. And I mean, again, I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Like, how dare us destroy what we could have been, what we should be. You know, we should be moving towards more direct democracy. We should be trying to figure out how to use AI to create more of a utopia, to understand how to make each and every one of our lives better, to make our daily lives easier. It's just insane, but it's the lust that people have in this country for extreme power and for hoarding wealth is just insane. Like, I don't even understand it. And listen, I'm not even a socialist. Like, before 2016, I was right down the middle, like believed in capitalism, like hardcore, like, yeah. And then I started to read, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. The free market and capitalism are not the same thing. Capitalism leads to monarchy, to monopoly only. Because extreme competition means that you're forced to do better than the next guy. And how do you do that? You consolidate. How do you get rid of competition? You buy them. You buy the competition, right? So now all of a sudden you have companies like CVS that they own that corporation controls 30% of pricing for pharmaceuticals because of their infrastructure, because they bought everything. They bought Aetna. They have pharmaceutical manufacturing in China and here. They have they've invested huge in clinics. They pay doctors. They got hundreds of thousands of people on their payroll. And now all of a sudden, and this is all for the benefit of the shareholder. That's what that is, right? So that all of these institutions within that thing can report higher income, right? They gouge pricing on pharmaceuticals, also that they can maintain 35 times fucking earnings on the stock market in this unrealistic thing. I mean, it creates this game. I mean, it's
and it's funny you say that, because it's like it's no longer, you don't bother, you had Colin Powell going before the UN to make his case. We've gone away from that. We had Pete Hegseth the other day say, I can't wait for Ellison to take over CNN. Right? It's naked and it's
so that they can lie.
So they can lie better, right? That's what happened with CBS. Yeah, CBS, the great CBS. I used to watch CBS Sunday Morning News every Sunday. I can't watch it anymore.
You can't watch them now. They're propaganda.
You can't watch. They're propaganda. They're state news. That's what I'm saying. I cannot believe we've gotten this low this fast.
I mean, question though. I mean, we haven't seen, besides $4 gallon gasoline, we still haven't seen the impact in our pocketbooks the way that it can be. So what happens when we start to see the impact in our pocketbooks? What's the reaction from this electorate who?
Time will tell. I've become very pessimistic because I don't see any real political resistance. Again, talk about the anger. Like, the Democratic Party are limp, with a few exceptions, and Congress is now powerless. I mean, it's just powerless. Oh, hi, Grandma.
That was my mom. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mom. Anyway, they become limp, and I don't see an end to it. I mean, I don't see
the vast wealth controlled by this small group of white men being diminished in any way. And in the end, it's the consumer, and we're going to get screwed. There's going to be there could be, and I believe there will be, there will start to be massive layoffs. You started to see it already in what's that company? It's not called Square anymore. What's his name? The Twitter, the old Twitter CEO. I'm just blanking on it.
Is it Stripe? Is it something like Stripe?
No, it's what's it called? He laid off half of his workforce, and that's due to AI and also shareholder pressure. I can't believe I'm blanking out on this guy's name. Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey, yeah.
Jack Dorsey. That was my wife from the corner there.
Thank you.
and he laid off half his workforce. I think that this is it's embryonic, but I think that that's what we have. That's what's coming, but it's also a perfect storm, right? We're going to have corporate revenues are starting to go down already outside of the AI bubble, and as I mentioned before, that is this spiral, circular investing. You have NVIDIA loaning money to AI that will then go buy NVIDIA chips, right? That doesn't help. That's not the consumer. That's not the engine that runs the economy. That's one company that has a lot of cash, or what it really is that they're able to borrow money from banks who they're short-sighted because all they're looking at is the interest rate and the interest rates that they're going to get and the revenue that they're going to get over 30 years from, or however long the financing is. So a lot of this stuff is driven by debt. But then what happens when there's no ability to pay back the debt, or that has to be refinanced, right? And then these companies, the only tool they have is to lay people off. So we're going to start to see the job market get really tight. And then also, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have another small business that I'm in. I haven't needed a lawyer for contracts in 18 months. I haven't needed a consultant or I haven't needed a consultant in 18 months. I haven't needed middle office anything. I practically don't need an accountant anymore. Like, these jobs are going away very, very quickly. And at what point is everybody forced to be an Uber driver? And then at what point does nobody have the money to take an Uber or to buy DoorDash? Or, when does that happen? Like, these are the things that are coming. So, I think we are truly headed for an economic situation that we don't really understand. Different than the Great Depression, different. I feel like we're headed like where everyone is going to be subjected to national minimum wage. Like, that's going to be the job available.
It's funny, Chris. I had said this before, I think on a prior show. I called it the Great Impoverishment, right? I think we're gonna just become, as a society, on a personal level, just much poorer. And I think that's gonna have. I don't think we've ever been there before. I think we're gonna realize what it is to be a person of a third world country. Like, we're headed there, and then but we're gonna see extreme wealth as well. It's gonna be this weird situation.
Well, I mean, the middle class is being decimated, right? And if you're part of the oligarch, like, you don't necessarily care that much, because even with people still need to buy things. Like, people still need to transact. Even if, do they care that the $1 million a year earner is now a minimum wage recipient? Maybe not. The middle, the upper middle class, which it's crazy that $1 million a year earner is not extremely wealthy, that it's the upper middle class. Mm-hmm. Frankly, which is insane. But I mean, it's going away. It's those things are going away. It's evident, the trickle down economics, even though people balk at it, is in full effect. It doesn't work. All it does, I mean, people talk about, people on the right talk about wealth transfer and wealth distribution as a bad thing, when in fact they are the biggest recipients of redistribution of wealth ever. Like, that's what Ronald Reagan did. right?
Yep.
Increasing the deficit, printing money to pay for huge tax cuts to the wealthiest, leaning on the shoulders of the middle class. And that transferred more and more wealth to the people that were already incredibly wealthy, who have tremendous loopholes. I mean, you guys know how like a Mark Zuckerberg is able to have an 8% net tax rate? It's because he borrows against his own equity in Facebook for liquidity, for dollars, and doesn't have to pay it back because the bank just gets the stock when he's ready to liquidate it. Or he pays the interest on it, and that's his 8% tax rate because the interest on the loan is so little, and he pays that with his income. I mean, it's just the most insane thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're making,
we could probably go on all day long, but we've been talking about, I think we need to have you back on a regular basis, Chris. If you're game to wake up early. I think you already wake up early anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up at 5 to be in front of my oh, that's another thing real quick. Like tonight when the markets open, when the futures market opens at 6 p.m. tonight Eastern time, that'll be probably the best indication as to what is going to happen, what's going to be happening in the war, because the people that are going to be sitting in front of their computers tonight, looking at those pricing, they're going to be privy. That information trickles down from the in the moment players, the people that have been trading oil all weekend and trying to figure out how to get physical oil to their the big oil company, and they are going to be sitting down, and the hedge funds, the large hedge funds that are privy to that information, they're going to be moving the market tonight one way or another, and then that will be the biggest indication of what the short term outcome, what the short-term prognosis of the war in Iran is based on pricing tonight when the stock market futures open and all the commodities futures markets open tonight. And in fact,
so Chris, let me ask you a question real quick, because we will end it with that, Chris. Okay. So that's a valuable insight. What do you foresee happening today? Is it going to be a bloodbath?
I think with the bombing of, here's the double-edged sword. I'll try to make this quick. The bombing of the Karg Island, right? The United States is saying that we didn't bomb the infrastructure. We just bombed. It was like the
military.
Yeah. We will take out the infrastructure. If that warning alone, I think puts oil prices up, between 5 and 15% tonight. Because that threat, I mean, we'll see. I could be wrong. I'm going to bet on it. That's my job. Right. Because that fear alone, like, even though, yes, it might be damaging to Iran, but they still supply, they are a giant oil producer. So pulling that oil off the market just puts more upward support on oil prices. So like, even if that happens, yes, it diminishes Iran, and even if that for some reason opens up the Strait of Hormuz, and that'll be a temporary pressure on oil prices, it still pulls a giant amount of oil off the market, and filling that hole will be not so easy. So we'll see a giant spike, and then if they still are able to, if the Strait of Hormuz is still remains shut, if they're able to hold that, I mean, I don't know, pick a number.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sobering.
Chris,
thank you so much, brother.
Before we let you go, for our audience, where can people hear your thoughts or see your thoughts? What are your socials, if you want to share those?
I mean, sure. I mean, I don't really, because I don't want to give financial advice, because it's just, I'm not that guy. But I think I'm on Instagram. I'm on at Christo Lou. I'm on Facebook more because I'm old. Donna, what's my Facebook handle? I think it's Chris. I think it's Christo Lou. Here, I'll put it in the chat here. How about that?
Perfect. Yeah, I think it's important, Chris. I think you're an important voice, and also I think because of your vocation, right? You have a unique insight, right? That I think is important, and I think we need as much guys as we can. We need to be talking about this. We're losing a lot here because of Trump, because of the both parties have led us to where we're at now.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, our Democrats are. I mean, they are susceptible. They're guilty of the same bullshit. Yep. You know, they're not so controlled by Christian nationalism, so it's not. Yeah, I'm Christopher Lewis on Facebook. How do I?
It's okay. We'll put it up. I'll put it up in the edit when we repost this.
I mean, I started a Substack because I believe that honestly the best way out of this for some of us is some kind of soft economic secession of the more liberal-minded states or more sane states, California, New York, New England, you know, the West Coast, because I don't see a way out of this other than that, frankly. But I haven't really published anything. I don't know. Anyway, whatever you guys want to do, sure. Be happy to talk to people.
Chris, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right.
And Led, it's 11:15. We haven't really talked about some local stuff, but I guess we'll get to that later. On another show. There's a lot.
This is an important episode, though. This is an important episode.
It was important, but this whole thing sort of blew up our what we were going to talk about. I had planned to talk about a bunch of local things, but we'll get back to that in future episodes. We might even want to consider doing like a midweek live if we can think about that and talk about that anyway. Led, anything else you want to say? It sounds like you've got people. Sounds like you got people now.
Yeah, my mom showed up. We're celebrating my oldest daughter's birthday today, so
that's
great. About a bunch of runners. Yeah. But I thought with my brother, let's keep this going. We rocking out. Yes, spread love is the Uptown way. Uptown Voices. We got some really good things coming in the future. To help the businesses of the community. So we'll talk about that in later episodes. And just stay tuned. Keep rocking with us. And, spread that Uptown love and subscribe and tell your people about it.
Thank you, Led.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.